This collectible of Witch King and Frodo on Weathertop has had a surprisingly complex journey through our building.
The journey began for us in 2018, and now when we're releasing it, it's 2020.
This collectible was really unpredictable in the way that it evolved and changed throughout the process.
We view our statues as collectible art, and as such, they're the sum of lots of subjective choices. In this case, we're being very candid and discussing the decision-making, the choices, the alternatives, the options that we had as we were making this piece. Hopefully, the fans will love the choices that we made and will enjoy the collectible as much as we do.
Without question, Jane Wenley was the right person to tackle this. She herself badly wanted to undertake this sculpture.
As a sculptor, this piece was really interesting to work on. There's so many elements that you have to think about. The flowing of the fabric, the otherworldly mist, Frodo's intense expression on his face, and the tension between him and the Witch King. It made it a really great challenge and also stretched me as an artist.
Typically, collectors get a first look at our statues when we're unveiling them when they're fully finished. But in this case, we thought it'd be really, really cool to actually start them at the beginning of the process and actually have Jane go to San Diego Comic-Con in 2018 and literally begin sculpting the statue on stage in front of everybody.
The original composition of Frodo and Witch King at Weathertop was quite a sort of realism-based scene, so we put them directly in Weathertop. We have the flagstone floor, and we have the fallen king statue behind Frodo. So it was really capturing that scene as it is seen in the film.
One of the most fun things that we get to do sometimes on these collectibles is actually go in and access the original materials.
In this case, we were able to get most of the original costume components and bring them into the workshop, put them on some of our crew, and get some really fantastic photos showing the way that the fabric would move. We were able to put a wind machine on and see everything sort of flowing around. I'm always trying to capture some sort of sense of movement within the characters that I'm sculpting, so to be able to see that in person is really important.
There was a point in this statue very close to completion when we were looking at it and realizing it still wasn't quite there.
The sculpture somehow felt slightly empty and flat. There was a disconnect between Frodo and the Witch King, as if Frodo was still in the real world and the Witch King was in the spectral world, and that really bothered me.
We're all passionate artists and no one is short of an opinion. So there was a lot of debate, and still is, around every collectible that we produce, and this one is no exception.
We eventually decided that the composition wasn't working with the fallen king masonry that we had in the piece.
The decision to remove the fallen king from the statue was really the turning point, and like any subjective art, it can be contentious. Even within the workshop we had different opinions on it. I like the fallen king personally, but I also respect Richard's point, which was that compositionally it competed with Frodo for space, and removing it actually made for a better looking statue overall.
Removing the fallen king statue means that Frodo is just terribly alone at that moment. There's nothing behind him, there's no protection. He is falling through this translucent ether.
I personally feel the piece is better for it because it has made it solely about the relationship between the Witch King and Frodo.
Removing the fallen king was one piece of the puzzle. The other part was readdressing the base.